I'm back. This is being recorded December 24th, 2024, Christmas Eve day. We got a nice snowstorm there last night, so it's actually going to be a white Christmas for the first time in a few years around here. Very nice day. Anyhow, let's get down to the meat. This video is titled Rescission, Notice and Opportunity to Cure. Oh, and I finally figured out how to put the recording here onto stereo, so hopefully this isn't stereo recording. Anyhow, regarding the notice of rescission, I'm going to speak about the follow-up opportunity to cure aspect of that notice. I showed you evidence from an expert in our video, Rescission, the Undoing, that a birth certificate is not evidence of your identity. Watch that video and the video Concealment of Material Facts, Grounds to Void All of It if you've not seen them. I highly recommend it. This is very helpful evidence for people whose birth was registered in Canada. And I also mentioned in that video, Rescission, the Undoing, how folks from other countries can obtain evidence that a birth certificate is not evidence of their identity or the evidence of the identity of the person presenting it or the bearer, however you want to cut it. This notice of rescission will be very helpful information whether in Canada or another country. They issue birth certificates. It's all tied back to the United Nations. In order to have child rights, you got to have a birth certificate. In other words, if there's a child out there getting beat up and he has a birth certificate, he'll get protection. If he doesn't have a birth certificate, they won't recognize him. He won't get protection. That's what they say. Not like that, but you can deduce that very simply. Anyhow, so if they issue birth certificates, then this information is helpful for you. Anyhow, the opportunity to cure aspect, which is step 2 after the notice, is the closer. That's what I'm calling it. And I'll get to that here shortly. I'll do a screen share. This notice of rescission is as simple as it gets, truly. It's easy on the brain. It takes us back to that critical moment when we first presented a birth certificate as evidence of our identity, unaware that it is not that, and that which of course caused us to return. That's how they got jurisdiction over us and the property. This notice process, you're reclaiming your true identity, your status, what it was or is before you return. So that's what we're reclaiming here. There's a bit more to it than that, but that's basically what we're reclaiming. Once we've done that, then that puts us back in the driver's seat. The notice of, pardon me, this notice can and will undo the attornment thing we discussed in some of our earlier videos here on YouTube. See the videos in the Tricks, Traps, and Deceptions playlist on our YouTube channel. It can and will address jurisdictional matters, removing the presumption you is the legal person, debtor, registered owner / trustee recognized in law. Remember, that's the name recognized in law. That's the one that they see. And from the Crown Attorney's Office here, pardon me, the Attorney General, we've got letters from them in the past. As far as they're concerned, you and the name are one and the same. I can't say that's the same around the whole planet, but that's basically people can deduce that by how everybody's being treated, and that's why they want to get that name out of your mouth. You can come up with some other name, but they'll say John Smith, also known as, that kind of stuff. It's gonna go on. So it's the games they play, but it's all because that's how they're seeing it, that you and the name are one and the same. Well, this is no. That's a huge presumption, a deadly presumption, dastardly presumption, but that's a presumption nonetheless. So I'm going to say that again. It can and will undo the attornment thing that we discussed in some of our earlier videos here on YouTube. See the Tricks, Traps, and Deceptions playlist. We got it all covered in there about the attornment, what that is, what it means. Look up the dictionary and the words if you're not sure. It can and will address jurisdictional matters, removing the presumption you as the legal person, debtor, registered owner / trustee recognized in law. If you want to be free from debt and other matters, legal matters, then pay attention. Please. I'm asking you. Merry Christmas, by the way. The notice of rescission is a simpler process, far simpler than their full-on reclaim your securities and far less paperwork intensive, especially for people under the gun with tax or other debt. Mortgages, car loans are involved in lawsuits, and there are many. There's going to be a lot more. There's no limit really what you can do with this notice, this process, once you've got the basic understanding down pat. So I'm going to get into the screen share aspect of this thing here now. So just let me put a stop to this and I'll have to switch over to Zoom to do the screen share. Back soon. All right, I'm back here. Oh, this is my fine feathered friend, Mr. Loon. Took that picture there last summer up north. I was away for a month. So, yeah, a lot of birds around in that area. Anyhow, let me get the screen share going here. That's why you're here. Up it up. All right. Hopefully that's on there and everybody can see it. I'll find out when I do the check back later. So this is like I say, this is the follow up to the action. So the notice has been sent. They defaulted because they don't. In other words, they can't provide evidence that the birth certificate is evidence of your identity, or that they told you that it isn't. So once they've defaulted on that, then we do the follow up here with the opportunity to cure. That's what I'm calling it. It's a second chance kind of thing. So it's addressed to so and so, and that XYZ postal address or to email, however it's done. Good day. Copies of the Notice of Rescission that was accepted on behalf of the Attorney General of Canada and Attorney General of Ontario are attached. I have not received notice of dispute with respect to any part or all of the said notice. Should no such notice be received by such and such a date, fill in the blank here, it is admitted and settled that a birth certificate is not evidence of the identity of the bearer presenting it, and no notice, warning, or disclosure of such was provided to this recipient of a birth certificate ever. You're speaking for yourself here, not including everybody, hence this recipient. The author of the Notice of Rescission is not the person Smith John Paul named on the birth certificate, registration number, blah, 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 nor on any document, license, permit, photo ID card, claim, charge, or account exhibiting the name Smith John Paul or a name made up of that name, John Paul Smith, John P. Smith, etc. Mr. Smith, whatever. Point made. The Smith John Paul named on the said birth certificate is the applicant, contracting party, and debtor name recognized in law on all accounts, past, present, and future. The Smith John Paul named on the said birth certificate resides in Canada, or whatever the country is, and is, or will be the registered owner of property in Canada, or whatever country you're in. And remember, I showed you in a previous video that that's what they're looking for. Liability is with the registered owner. It's not you. The presumption is that it's you. The author of the Notice of Rescission is the benefactor. We covered that in previous videos as well. And the sole authorized administrator with an interest. That's it. So this is what they're admitting to. I'm not saying they're agreeing, but it's admitted. Remember, I shared the court case where there was admitted that the driver was at fault. In that case, I showed you in the rescission, the undoing video. I think it was that video. And where the driver it was admitted that, that he was the driver, and as such, he was liable for the death. The question later in the court case was, well, who was the registered owner of the vehicle to establish that liability? So it's admitted and settled that. So anyway, we have Zoom meetings on a Notice of Rescission, opportunity to cure, and related matters that are slated to begin January 15, 2025. Participants will get access to the Notice of Rescission, the opportunity to cure, the procedure that we recommend or that we use, but there's no experts here, and invites to twice monthly Zoom meetings. There's more information on our blog, www.restorethekingdomofgod.blogspot.com. And please like and subscribe this video. Much appreciated. I'm going to stop the screen share right now. That's it. Just going to pause here for a moment. 'Tis the season, so wishes all a merry, happy Christmas or whatever you're into there, and Happy New Year, and happy new life for 2025. And I'm done here. God bless. Light of God never fails. Not possible. Not possible. Keep smiling. Be the light. You're good to go. Where there's light, there's no dark. And don't buy into the dark. Don't feed into the dark by being dark. Love you. I mentioned procedure. It's two procedures. One is the getting, completing the Notice of Rescission process, the notice, the opportunity to cure, putting closure to that. And then the next procedure is, what do you do with that? So what do you do with the notice? You've got to complete it now. It's admitted and settled that, blah, 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 blah. So now you've got that evidence. What do you do with that? There's many things you can do with that, and I'm not going to cover it all here. That would be the purpose of the Zoom meetings, and different people are going to have different circumstances, so we'll address them as we go, as far as explaining to people what they can do with it in their situation. We're helping them through that. But for example, you might receive a claim from a law firm on behalf of a bank, foreclosure, bad loan, whatever. Just as an example, it could be a criminal matter, a civil matter as well. So you receive knowledge of that. So what do we do? We take the completed process, the paperwork, where it's admitted and settled. That's where the Notice of Rescission is there, the opportunity to cure, it's all there. maybe put a cover page on that one piece of paper, and all it says in there, mistake with respect to the identity of the debtor. Remember, they think you're the debtor. And if you notice in the opportunity to cure thing, you're establishing, no, you're not the debtor. You never were the debtor. It's all presumption. So it's overcoming these presumptions. And so it's letting the claimants know, whoever that might be, to know you've got the wrong debtor here. I'm not, let me rephrase that. I'm not the debtor. So there's a mistake with respect to the identity of the debtor. Remember, identity is not what you are, it's what you're of. You're of your mom and dad. The name recognized in law is of the government. So you get it? So that's where you're steering them to go. And anyway, we're going to cover that and other things in the Zoom recordings when we get those started. And like I say, they start January 15th. So the first three videos, Zoom meetings are going to be more instructional, going over the notice of rescission, the opportunity to cure. So people got all that in their heads. Then after that, it'll be just general chit chat Zoom recordings where people can say, okay, I've done the process and I've got a claim coming from the CRA or IRS, ATO. I got a lawsuit from a bank, from a law firm on behalf of a bank, whatever. And so we'll talk about those and what the people can do to resolve those matters. Anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there. Additional information here. Again, let God never fails. God bless. Love you. Till next time. Keep smiling.